there are so many, but I keep reading Christian anarchism and I don't know how to not. Can we talk to Phoebe?
Yes, I would love to talk to Phoebe.
So Phoebe in Massachusetts, all it says in the notes is Christian anarchism. Phoebe, what is going on?
Hello, friends.
Hello.
I'm super glad I got to call in.
Yay.
I'm never awake at this hour, so I'm just super happy. Anyway, so Christian anarchism, right? Quick little backstory. Won't make it long.
Okay.
I grew up as a snake-holding, speaking in tongues Pentecostal Christian.
Ooh. Like a naked?
Yeah,
or
I grew up in,
like naked snake holding, or did you draw the lines at underwear?
Fully clothed, thankfully.
Okay.
Fully clothed. My church was full of old people because I grew up in the Deep South in an area that industrialization, the collapse of the economy in the 30s, had just ruined that area. Nothing left there but old people, right? And a few little agrarian families.
Okay.
And I got out of the faith because I was like, as I got older, and I was like, wait, there's a lot of like evidence for other things. And I was like, wait, the only reason I believe in this is because I grew up in fucking Mississippi. And as I got older, call it a slip of the mind, I have slowly started to get back into the faith, not necessarily out of some changed conviction as to whether or not God exists, but rather out of a sense of it makes me feel better if it does. And when I started getting back into religious belief, obviously what I gravitated towards was Christianity.
Sure.
And I could not...
That's familiar.
At first I could not, I cannot think of the word I'm looking for to describe this phenomenon. It's like I couldn't juxtapose my, political and social axioms with the Christian faith because I'd grown up in a very fire and brimstone Old Testament style church, right?
Yeah.
And when I started looking into it more, I actually had a few friends that were like, well, wait a minute, there's actually this branch of Christianity called Christian anarchism. Leo Tolstoy was a big thinker of it. And I was like, wait a minute, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? And so I started looking into it, and now it's like just taken me by storm. And whether the question of God exists is ceased to matter to me. I have faith because because I've just accepted that, you know what, whether or not his dad is real is beside the point. Mm-hmm. Jesus was an anarchist, and he was the first anarchist. And that is my theorem.
Well, I think you're doing a disservice to the history of humanity saying that Jesus was the first anarchist.
First, maybe not. Definitely, yeah, I could see an argument that he was.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's poetic exaggeration, of course.
Not everybody gets the of course part, though, which is why I want to put a fine point on it. Even if you know that does not mean everyone does.
For sure. I thought my animation might make that clear, but that's a good point to put out there. My bad.
Question for you, though, Phoebe, because I've been on the anarchist track as well. I've taken more of like a
glad to hear it.
Yeah, more of a mutualism, kind of like syndicalism situation on my end. But I have heard and done a little bit of reading about Christian anarchism, about Tolstoy's involvement in it, which was really cool to learn about. My question, though, it is one of It's not probably addressing what you wanted to talk about. So bear with me. I feel
That's fine. I'm open to talk about anything.
I'm curious how you came to the conclusion that Jesus was an anarchist in the context of Jesus talking about things like hierarchy, specifically around like kings and rulers and leadership, because to me, I definitely see the anarchism element in combating the Roman occupation. Like, I think that is an accurate concept. But when you read kind of like what the goals of a lot of those kind of like radical preachers at the time were bringing about, it wasn't necessarily anarchy, at least in the way I understand it, which is more of a bottom-up organizational structure, but rather we want to be the ones in control, or we want to be the ones picking our king as opposed to being occupied. How does that all historically like fit into your idea of Jesus as an anarchist?
I guess it's really not so much of a different historical understanding as it would be kind of a different philosophical view of it. So,
Okay.
My conception of anarchism, and I will admit that I am woefully underread on theory. A lot of what I know has come from just having discussions with working people and anarchists in my actual life and picking up a few books here and there, but not super well read on theory. My understanding that I go forward with, that I sally forward with under as an anarchist is that anarchism is not even so much about getting rid of necessarily all hierarchy, every power structure, and every social organization with leaders, so much as it is about removing the concept of the state. It's kind of a modern concept that I extrapolate back onto a historical figure that lived under very different times, if admittedly a little too similar for comfort as time goes on, but that's another discussion. I think when I think about what I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. If you'd like, I'd love to push back in a few ways.
Definitely, thank you. That will help me jog my memory and get my vocal cortex working again.
No problem. So Jesus said, "Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's." How does that respect anarchy, and how does that jive
interesting question, Eric.
with anarchy?
Ooh.
Well, because every leftist would go to prison if they didn't pay taxes.
Good counter.
Thank you.
You dislike society and yet you participate in society. I see.
Okay. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like then what that says is Jesus could have been an anarchist, but definitely practiced not that. I don't know. I don't see Jesus embodying anarchy in that way. I see people, potentially you, Phoebe, reading into Jesus what you want to read into them. Jesus was also offered the chance to escape before becoming crucified, and it was respect of the laws that had put him there, even if it wasn't just going through with it.
Wait, respect of the laws?
Yeah, I'm confused on that one.
Wait.
Too.
Jesus was sentenced to death by
Right.
the Romans,
Yeah.
and he was offered the
Yes,
chance
I
to escape.
understand that much.
Yeah.
Why didn't he go?
Well, according to, I think we might have a fundamental difference in interpretation here based on our past. Are you talking about Garden of Gethsemane shit?
Well, Garden of Gethsemane is that's more about the sacrificial piece of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But there's also the respecting the establishment of the authority that put him there.
I never heard that interpretation in my life. The entire thing was in order to be the sacrificial lamb, and that was a function of how he got there.
Yeah, but I feel like if Jesus was an anarchist, he would have jumped off a cliff instead of holding up the establishment of the Romans at the time.
No.
If anything, that would set precedent to prevent the Jewish communities.
Be like Jesus. No, okay. We are so far afield. And I definitely want to dive into this more later. But okay. Phoebe. I think we could get so deep into this. What I want to know more than anything though, before we let you go, and I do hope you will call back and talk more about this. What does Christian anarchism provide the world that anarchism by itself does not, and Christianity by itself does not? What is it about the melding of those two that you have found impacts the world in a way that you see value in?
Well, I have a response for that as well that I have thought about a lot, because that question has been in my head too. And really what I've come to is kind of, not gonna lie, an idea that I did not come up with. It's almost a neoconservative idea. Leo Strauss came up with this idea.
Okay.
And I think that man is evil, but I think one of the things he said was true, and that's that I think that people need great, abundant, powerful myths to believe in to provide some sense of illustration as to the wonder that people get for things that are not explained by science, or that in their minds are not adequately explained by science. And I think that under the right society, under a non-capitalistic society, under a society that was controlled from the bottom up, from unions, from powerful community organizations, I think that religion's detriments that it starts to have as it increases in size and is allowed to become a capitalistic entity, I think that those would be negligible, and I think that the positive effect that people would get from having the common and widespread belief of something greater than themselves, something that watches over all of us, something that is loving. I think, kind of a new agey, admittedly, interpretation of Christianity could save the world in tandem with a communist revolution.
Oh, wow. You've made so many enemies in the comments with that last sentence.
I'm
wow.
So happy. I'm so glad. I do this every time I call into a show, and I'm always happy to do it. I'm glad that your community is going to gender me correctly.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, we will.
Oh my gosh. Look, okay, though here's the thing. I agree with you to an extent, because I'm currently reading The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity by the Davids, David Graeber and Wengrow. And what they are doing is using our knowledge of prehistory to create those abundant, powerful myths. What they are doing is exactly that. They are making a case for anarchism using the myths of our archaeological and social prehistory. It's a different mythology.
That is incredible.
But it is
What's it called again?
The Dawn of Everything by David Graeber and David Wengrow. Highly recommend. I'll link it in the
Dawn of Everything.
Yeah, I'll link it in the description as well. But essentially what they're doing is they're saying, hey, we have misunderstood how humans have existed prehistorically. And we're going to go back and do a deep dive. He's a sociologist and archaeologist, and this is his area of expertise. And so, yes, I agree. The reason that I'm compelled in this way with this kind of emotion is because I have bought into certain mythologies about this as well. They aren't religious. They are based in our understanding of, the science of uncovering the past, but it is still filling that essential need. So in that case, I agree with you. I would just have a problem with the idea that Christianity is uniquely what we should be focusing on. But that's a different conversation, and one I definitely would like to get into.
We should put a pin in that so I can call back and talk about that specifically.
Absolutely.
I'll make an argument for why Christianity is specifically the one.
Oh my God, let's do it.
Okay, I just want to pop in there with two things.
Okay.
Number one, I disagree with you both. I think that
awesome.
I think that mythology often is a post hoc justification for wonder, not a cause of wonder in and of itself. The wonder that you're feeling, Phoebe, is you extrapolating the humanity that you have, the empathy that you have, and making it something that you can imagine bigger, which feels really good, but that's just a reflection of the good person that you are. I don't think that. I mean, I'm glad you said but I really do think that it's putting the cart before the horse.
No, I know. I couldn't help it.
It's nice when Eric gives you a compliment. You feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
And then the other thing is Mozart in the chat absolutely called me out. I'm thinking of Socrates.
Socrates, huh?
Yeah, and
Okay, I am so relieved.
my stuff around Socrates has obviously transposed itself into my memories of religiosity, and I need to really kind of deconstruct a couple of things. But I appreciate getting called out. Anytime I need to be called out, call me out, everybody.
Does this mean you got confused? You confused Jesus and Socrates? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
I confused Jesus and Socrates in this conversation.
I love you guys. Amazing.
Oh my
Phoebe,
gosh.
thank you so much
Phoebe,
for
thanks
calling
for calling
in.
in. This was like these last couple calls have been my bread and
So
butter.
fun.
I am so excited. Thanks for calling in, Phoebe.
Take care.
I'm happy to contribute. Thank you so much. I'll call back in sometime. Thank
Okay,
you.
Love it.
Bye. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry I geeked out so hard, everybody. I want to have a versus about this.
About what?
Mythology being useful.
We might not have to. I think it's useful, but I also think that if you're using it to
Uniquely useful.
let's make a drink after the show, see if we disagree, and if so,
I think we
let's
might
do
have
it.
a
Let's do
versus. I think we're
It's
coming
been a
up on
while.
It has been a bit.
Yeah.
Leave a note in the comments if you want another versus episode, and if you think that is mythology uniquely useful, a good topic. All right. We probably have time for like one more quick call.
Totally. Let's do it. And by the way, all of the people who understand the Socrates reference, I love you all. You are my community. Thank you for being here, Bill and Ted Wilds. Yes, absolutely. All right.